Hello, my name is Stephen Redman and welcome to another episode of Pastor's Library. This is the channel where we discuss everything to do with theology books, particularly books that might be on a seminary course reading list or a reading list for a bachelor's or master's degree in biblical theology or biblical studies. If you like what we have to say today, please give us a thumbs up on YouTube. It makes such a difference for your one click. And also, why not leave a question or a comment? I'll always try and get back to you about those. And if you subscribe and click on the bell, then you'll get to know when we're just about to launch a new episode. So today, I want us to talk about my favourite commentaries on the Epistles of John, or the Johannine Epistles. And just to say that this has frightened me a bit because I've realised I've got 20 commentaries on 1, 2, 3 John. And I wonder if that's maybe too many. But I want to go through them with you and let you know what I think about them. Just to say, the New Testament Theology series by Cambridge University, they have the Theology of the Johannine Epistles by Judith Liu. This is the standard bit of reading material before you get into studies of John's epistles, and it's interesting, it's good. I don't think this is perhaps quite as good as some of the others, but it's definitely a good overview so that you can see how theologians treat these three epistles and how that might influence your reading. Interpretation, this is by D. Moody Smith. This is a 1990 commentary, so it's over 30 years old, and it's probably therefore not quotable in essays, but 164 pages. This has lots to say. It's not a bad commentary, actually. What it does tell us about 1 John chapter 3 verse 1, which I'm going to make some comparisons about this verse throughout this video. What Moody has to say about 1 John 3 verse 1 is that the world's failure to acknowledge believers as children of God is grounded in their ignorance of God himself. I thought that was quite a nice quote. Good for preachers. Some of you will be full of comments now that I am lifting this up again. I have to do this 10 times a day. It's a basic exercising tool. C. Clifton Black wrote the 92 pages in volume 10 of the New Interpreter's Bible Commentary that cover the Johannine Epistles. This was in 2015, makes this still very up to date. All I can say is that these 92 pages just really lacking a bit of detail. C. Clifton Black I like actually, but I would suggest this is a great one to have purely because of all the New Testament books that are included, not particularly for 1 John, 2 John, 3 John. About that verse that I mentioned to you, Clifton Black says, "As he is, so are we in this world." And you can draw your own conclusions from that. The Abingdon New Testament Commentary series by David Rensberger. This was published in 1997. It's 174 pages. I love this series. This is quite readable. I did read it last year again when I was preaching through the Johannine Epistles. I would say that this is worthwhile. I sort of felt it didn't really surprise me in any areas, but it was a good grounding and it offers a lot for what is a very reasonably priced commentary. At the other end of the spectrum, Hermeneia desperately need an update on their range. This was written in 1973, and whereas it is a technical commentary, has still got something to say to us, it is a little bit old for quoting in a master's or bachelor's degree essay. 140 pages. This is by Rudolf Bultmann, which some people love him, some people hate him. I think this is a good commentary, actually. But what he says about 1 John 3 verse 1 is that the world does not recognise the children of God is precisely a proof that they no longer belong to the Word. I'm really looking forward to a replacement volume for this. Hermeneia have so much to offer. They really have a lot to give. And I think that this is a book that is worthy of replacement. Gary Burge wrote the NIVAC commentary on the letters of John. As you know, this series is much more about the application than the verse-by-verse commentary. This was published in 1996. Again, they ought to really be thinking of a renewal of this, or at least a revision of it. 262 pages. Actually, I think that this is typical of the NIVACs. It's great if you're a preacher. It's great if you're looking for practical applications. I really got a lot from reading this. It offers so much. To be fair, Gary M. Burge always has something to say. He says about 1 John 3 verse 1 regarding our identity. He says, your identity is in the Father's hand, so it is secure. And what a better phrase could you have for the first quarter of the 21st century when there was so much issues on identity. I thought that was a very, very good quote. This is one of the Pentecostal commentaries. It's by John Christopher Thomas, who is excellent and has so much to offer. This was published in 2004. It's got 283 pages, and I would say this has just the right level of detail, a great insight into many areas. I really think that John Christopher Thomas has a lot to offer for this. The bibliography is a little bit weak. Well, if you look at the size of it on the page, it is weak, but the comments themselves are excellent and offers so much to the reader. Whereas I might normally gravitate to the Abingdon commentary for this type of reading, I would have to say this, I think, is well superior for this particular version. A series that I have grown to like a lot in the last 3 years or so is by Smith and Helwys, and it's the reading literary and theological commentary, reading John and 1, 2, 3 John in this case, reading book name, literary and theological commentary. So it's reading the New Testament series is the official title. This was published in 2019. 119 pages are devoted to 1 John, 2 John, 3 John. The rest of the book is given up to the Gospel of John. I think the advantage of this book is that it maybe doesn't have quite the amount of detail on the exegesis of the passages, but it does have a lot of thought gone into the theology of the passages, the theology of John. And I think that this is a really great all-round book. So many people, they'll try and get a good book on the theology of John. Others will try and get a good commentary on the exegesis of John, of John's epistles. This book does tick both boxes, and it does quite well at that. It's written by Alicia D. Myers. I've not read anything else by her, but this is looking good as far as I'm concerned. You know, this is not in my top few, but I would suggest this is probably a little bit better than the Cambridge New Testament Theology book when it comes to the theology. And that's quite a big statement, so I like this. Judith Liu, who also wrote that New Testament Theology book in the Cambridge series, wrote this commentary for the New Testament Library in 2012. It's 300 pages just devoted to 1, 2 and 3 John. It's academic, it's accessible, but I don't know how to say this other than to say, but it's not really very engaging. When I was reading it, I felt that someone had a pillow over my face and was trying to knock the breath out of me. It is, however, a very useful reference. The bibliography is different, and in that sense, it will open you up to perhaps reading other things. I don't think this is as good as some of the reviewers say. For me, this didn't work too well. I had anticipated getting a lot more from it, but as a reference, I am quite certain it will keep coming up, and therefore I'm happy to keep it on the shelf. Thomas Andrew Bennett has written the Two Horizons commentary. This came out in 2021. It's 225 pages. This is therefore one of the most recent commentaries. This, again, has the two views of theology and of exegesis, and I just found this to be excellent. I suppose what I'm saying to you is Judith Liu, which got great reviews, I found this, which I struggled to find any decent reviews. I didn't find any bad ones, but I struggled to find any reviews, really. I felt that this offered me a lot more, and I think it's a worthwhile addition. I've got quite a lot of this series now, and the more I use them, the happier I am with them. The Pillar commentary is by Colin G. Crews. Now, I've read other things by him, and he does have a lot to say. This book is in its second edition now. This was published in 2020, and it's 282 pages. And what can I say about this? As with all the Pillar series, layout is good, text is clear, useful use of headings, subheadings, an excellent bibliography at the front of the book. It always fools me when they're at the front, but it's an excellent bibliography. And it's so good to have a current commentary with an up-to-date, good quality bibliography. It opens up your study. You know, ultimately, I'm interested in books that help me in my study, not in books that have got everything as an answer that I can just cut and paste things from. I don't know if I'm just stupid, but to my mind, I'm looking for books that will help me find out for myself, and this is one of those books. The Story of God commentaries are all excellent at putting the context of the book that's being commentated on in the wider context of the scriptures. This was published in 2017, 246 pages, by Constantine Campbell. He's a very good commentator. His recent works, Ephesians for Pillar, is an excellent commentary, as indeed this is. When it comes to 1 John 3 verse 1, he says we are not just called children of God. That is what we are. New life, new orientation, new family. I thought that was a good summary. And this has great layout, very accessible. This is one of the commentaries that is probably the most easy to get your brain round. If you're not used to reading commentaries, the Story of God are awfully good. And in a sense, I think the sort of the current generation's nearest thing to the NIVAC, the New International Version Application commentary. And I commend this to you. It's a very good book. The New American commentaries, which are not quite so new now and are being phased out in favour of the Christian Standard commentaries. These are based on the NIV, the Christian Standard commentaries are based on the CSB. But this was published in 2001, so it's still well quotable. 296 pages. It's academic, it's accessible. If I had to just say one word overall to say about it, I would say it's refreshing. It's got helpful content. I actually really liked this. I got quite a lot out of it. Is it outstanding? No. Is it better than most of the ones we've had before? Well, yeah, probably it is. Great hardback in a nice slipcover and an excellent commentary. Now I suppose I'm getting on to the section of commentaries which I would rate as being superior. This is by Rick Williamson. It's the New Beacon Bible commentary on 1 John, 2 John, 3 John. This is absolutely brilliant. When I was preaching through these three epistles last year, I really got a tremendous amount from this book. It was published in 2010, 220 pages. I think that's the right level of detail. It's still very recent. I would just say I would defy anybody to not get something out of this. Once again, if I only had one commentary that had to be an accessible commentary, and I wasn't looking for something that was technical, I would always reach for this series first. But this particular book is good. This is what Williamson has to say about 1 John 3:1. He says, this is no merely in name-only positional relationship with God. The character of God becomes a part of who we are. Just as the Creator planned for the original pair, Adam and Eve, to be the divine image in the world, so here the readers are told what God has declared they are to be too. I think that's a great quote. He's saying, being the children of God, it's all about being the divine image bearer. I like that. It would hardly be a review by me to not have Ben Witherington's commentary high up in the list. This is a volume called Letters and Homilies for Hellenized Christians, Volume 1. This is a socio-rhetorical commentary on Titus 1 and 2 Timothy and 1, 2 and 3 John. It was written in 2006. It's got 229 pages. Obviously, the majority of those are Titus 1 and 2 Timothy, and only the rest are on 1, 2 and 3 John. But I think this has a very good measure of detail. It has an excellent bibliography. You can always depend on Ben Witherington for a great bibliography. I would suggest to you this is smooth, it's accessible, it's very, very deep and meaningful. And I would say that Witherington has a lot to offer. This is a commentary I haven't had too long. It's part of the new Evangelical Exegetical commentary series. It's by Gary W. Derrickson. It was published in 2014, so it's been around 10 years. It's taken me 9 years to find it. But this is incredibly detailed. 773 pages, the three epistles of John. This is technical. It goes straight back to the Greek. It's not the easiest to work through, but with persistence, it will generate you some helpful, thoughtful thinking, which will influence you, I would hope, in a very positive way. With those 773 pages, you would think I could come up with a really pithy quote regarding 1 John 3 verse 1, wouldn't you? And you would be wrong. I think the verbosity of this is ideal as a technical commentary, but it doesn't quite necessarily have the pithy comments, the helpful short bite-sized things, which as a society we love these days, but is maybe not necessarily what we need. I would say this is a good commentary, very good commentary. I would hate this to be my only commentary, but I am consulting it more as a bit of self-discipline. I'm finding it's worth doing that for. Now, if you've got any books by I. Howard Marshall, cherish them. He was a great theologian, and he wrote the 1995 commentary for the New International Commentary on the New Testament. It's called simply the Epistles of John. This is the second revised edition, and it's great. It's absolutely fabulous. Next year, this will be on the borderline for quotability. I suppose what I'm saying is, use it while you can. Marshall isn't around to do an update of this, so I'm supposing we're going to get a new edition out of this in the next year or two. But I really do love this. And whereas there are better overall commentaries, this is a precious commentary to me. I found the author to be so insightful. This is truly a revelation. But you really want now to be getting a good price on this, I would suggest. You don't want to be paying the earth for it. This is the Epistles of John. It's the Anchor Bible, and it's by Raymond E. Brown. Now, Ray Brown is truly a work of art. He has produced this in 1982. I suppose what I'm saying to you is, this is a book that you shouldn't be thinking of quoting from, but it is, I think, really the basis of all modern commentaries on 1 John, 2 John, 3 John. I really, really value this beyond belief. These 812 pages have all got something in there. This is a true academic volume. It leans towards the technical, but it is suitably excellent. I don't know about America, but in the UK, you will struggle to get a copy of this for £100. And that will probably not be a new copy. I don't know what they're going to do with this. I sort of hope that they will replace it in the series and then just republish this as a standalone product, because I don't think we can afford to lose Raymond Brown's insight into the Epistles of John. This is truly a magnificent work. And whereas it goes over the age for quotations, I don't think that would influence a pastor or a Bible teacher in any way. This is a true, insightful, great, accessible, fabulous set of words that will set you up for life. I would suggest you could happily base a year's home study on the Epistles of John on this one book alone. It's a true masterpiece. And I don't know how much I ended up having to pay for this, but it was far more than I wanted to, and I'm so glad I have it. Okay, we're now into my top 3 usable, quotable books that are bang up to date, that are a wealth of information. And in third place, I would offer you Stephen Smalley's Word Biblical Commentary from 2007. This was the revision in 2007. It's got 376 pages. It's a true technical commentary. I have the full range of this series, and I'm used to accessing them. Until I had Raymond Brown, this was always the first commentary I reached for. Now, it will probably be the second. But I know what I'm going to find. I know that I'm going to get the depth of detail and reasoning that I am looking for. I know I'm going to be able to go straight back to the original language. This is a truly great piece of work, and Stephen Smalley has left us a legacy with this. 376 pages of greatness. I don't know what you do to make a technical commentary that's better than this. It's a true work of art, and I commend that to you. And in a sense, that might be enough, except there have been a couple of quite recent breakthroughs. The Baker Exegetical Commentary on the New Testament by Robert Yarbrough. This is a technical commentary, 434 pages. Great design, great layout, lots of text box use, and it's engaging to participate in its pages. As you work through it, it really does offer a lot. Brilliant white pages, good clear fonts. The Baker exegetical commentaries are always good, but Yarborough here I would suggest is way up in terms of the quality given. And I offer it to you with a great sense of how excellent it truly is. This is what Yarborough has to say about 1 John 3:1. He says, "We do not simply look at a love that is external to us and marvel at its greatness. We know a love that resides within us." And that's his summary of that great verse. He's telling us that we know it and it's within us. And that is the truth of that verse. Lastly, the Zondervan Exegetical commentary on the New Testament. This is by Karen Jobes. I hope I pronounced her name right. She is a truly great theologian of our time. This was published in 2014. It's 358 pages. And frankly, this, of the modern range of commentaries out there, I would say to you, this is the best for me overall. I don't know what it is about Karen Jobes' style of writing and research, but it really clicks with me, and this is a truly great commentary. It's got great layout. The whole series of these have got great layout. And when I'm talking about the layout, I'm talking about what it looks like on the page. It's not crowded. It's not all squished together. It's not like you feel you've got to wade through the mess to get to the kernel of the truth. It's all there where you expect it to be. It's great and it's clearly accessible. It is technical, with the huge benefit of Job's authorship and her understanding made clear to us. And whereas I'm saying to you that these 20 commentaries I've quickly reviewed have all got something to offer, and the top 10 I think are brilliant, and the last 3 just outstanding for me, this is her view of 1 John 3 verse 1, which to me is revelatory and a great summary in a pithy sentence that helps us understand this. She says the world is alienated from God, but God's love creates a people who are alienated from the world. And I think that's a great understanding of 1 John 3 verse 1. I hope this has helped you. I hope you've seen something there that maybe is already on your bookshelf. If not, I hope it will give you some ideas. Please don't go mad and buy 20 commentaries on 1 John, 2 John, 3 John. But if you are doing a study on it, or if you've got an essay, then I hope that this will give you some ideas about what's out there and what's good at the moment, and also a little bit of the backstory of what has been good. I hope that has helped you. If it has, remember to click a like for us, leave a comment, subscribe, and click on the bell, and I'll see you next time on Pastor's Library. Until then, all I've got to say is bye!